Hey everyone, today we're going to jump into another Canva tutorial. This one we're going to cover doing stock photos for your blog and also discuss a little bit about using the right size for your thumbnail. And we're also going to talk a little bit about adding or creating graphics, extra graphics that can go in your longer blog posts to kind of help break them up a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to share screen and we'll jump right in. Long pause here. Okay. All right, so I have an ongoing Canva document that I use, and these are just photos that I use for my blogs. I think there's like 53, 57 pages here, so I'm not going to scroll through them all. But a couple things here. So first of all, what I do is if I don't have a personal photo that I can use that goes with the blog or that I'm creating a series on or something like that, then I'll come to Canva for stock photos. I like using Canva because I find their search terms work really well. So as a herbalist, if I'm wanting to do something about a specific herb, I want that specific herb in the photo, not some kind of green plant in the photo. So a lot of the royalty-free sites are not as specific. Their pictures, if I look up, mint plant, it'll give me like some kind of green plant that is not necessarily mint. Whereas if I do it on Canva, it will give me something very specific. So let's go over to their elements here on the left. And I'm just going to duplicate this page and then delete the photo so I have a blank page to work with. And then rather than searching all elements, I really just want a photo. So I'm going to go down to photos and go see all. And then I'm going to search photos. So for this one, let's see, I'm doing a blog right now about parenting. So let's see if I can get mother and child and see what it's going to give me. Okay, so here I have lots of different options. Of course, there's plenty. I like using silhouettes because then I'm not taking a photo of specific people or like from the back. Let's see if I go mother and child from back. So there I'll get, there's a family looking at the back of them here as well, and here, these ones. So you can see how it changes based on your keywords. So let's just put in this one just because I want to do something. There we are. And the other thing I want to point out is I'm using a 6x4 that is 600 pixels wide by 400 pixels tall. This is like your traditional 4x6 photo if you used film cameras back in the day. Wasn't that long ago. Okay, anyway, let's just go in here, and what I want to do is share this specific photo. So this one I'm going to go and download, and obviously I don't want pages 1 to 58. I'm going to unselect that. I'm going to select my current page and hit done. And then I'm going to download that. It will take a minute to download. There we go. And now if I jump over to my Substack post that I'm working on, I will just click on the picture here and go add image. And I will upload that photo. This is in downloads. Here we are, and open that. It always takes a minute. So now the reason I use a 400 by 600 with the landscape orientation is because this is the perfect size for the thumbnail. So now the thumbnail is going to have a really great picture on my homepage layout, and it's not going to be kind of skewed. So oftentimes when I'm doing my herb profiles, for example, these ones, I'll just edit it. This one is a profile, and it's quite a large photo. It's a painting, digital painting by my daughter. So it's quite a bit bigger than what actually fits. So I have to take this, I save the picture from her, and then I upload that into Canva, and I might have it at the bottom of this one. Yes. So then I upload the whole picture. You can see as I hover on this, the picture is a lot bigger. The purple square around this is the actual picture. And I've just resized it and recentered it so that I get this thumbnail the way that I want it to look for the home page. So that is how you can either resize an existing photo or find one on Canva that you want to use. Alternatively, there are photos here. You can add a stock photo. If you add a gallery, you really can't resize the photos. You kind of have to just go with however Substack sizes them, which will be dependent upon how many pictures you've loaded. So if you do 4 versus 3, you'll get a 2x2 grid, and then the pictures will be a bit bigger. But generally speaking, they'll just be squares, and it'll auto crop it, and you really can't adjust that. So if you're going to do a gallery, use photos that it doesn't really matter to you how they're going to look as far as cropping goes. But if cropping matters, then you want to do that manually and create the image that you want. Okay, so that is your photos for the for your blogs. Just a quick overview of how to do that and how to get your thumbnail to work. Let's jump into doing a little bit of extra things. So what I like to do, and I don't actually do it on Fierce and Free, which is what we were just looking at, but I do it with my Substack, Substack coaching Substack, which is where this tutorial is. And that is, I like to create a graphic to go as a divider rather than just using the gray line. And I'm going to do it for Fierce and Free as well, but I'm in the middle of rebranding that. So I'm not ready to do that yet. So basically what I'm going to do is click on elements again. But this time I actually want, I'm going to get rid of that menu. There we go. I actually want to look at graphics. So now I can do like a dividing line. Oops. It helps if I can spell. So it'll come up with all kinds of lines, squiggles. Some of these ones that are colored, you can change the color on, which is nice. So let's say I like this one. I don't, but that's okay. I'm going to resize it to fill the full space and center it. There we go. And then I'm going to click on the color here. And let's say I'm going to do this with this dark teal color. That'll show up well on my herbalist site, which has a pink background. So then I would just save that. If your divider is actually black and white, some of them you can still change the color of and the style. Some of them you cannot. So this one, no, you can change that one too. Occasionally you come across one you can't change, but for the most part you can change the color, and you can also find some pretty fancy ones. Okay, here's one that does not have a color change. So this one says you can change the border style, corner rounding. Oh, yeah, it is giving me the color. So I could change that to teal. Or if I was doing this for Substack Coach, maybe I would use the dark blue. And again, the main thing is that you want this to fill the whole space. So this one specifically, this graphic page that I've made is 220 pixels tall by 1200 pixels wide. So this is if you want a graphic that goes all the way across the page. 1200 pixels wide should do it, 220 tall. And then what I would do, this one's looking a little blurry. I wouldn't use this one. It's obviously not doing very well sized up. This one's good though. So when I do the download, I would download this as a PNG and I would do a transparent background. Now this is a paid option, which you can see because of the crown beside it. The reason this is important is because if you have a colored background, then you don't want your divider to have a white block around it. If you have a white background, then it really doesn't matter. You can just, you can download it as a JPEG with the background solid and then you're fine. But if you've decided to do colored backgrounds like I have, then you definitely want to do the transparent background. I don't know what the price of Canva is in the States. In Canada here, it's $16.99 a month. For me, that's worth it. It's just simply something that I use a lot of, and I find it incredibly useful. So with the divider, obviously Substack has its divider here under the More category. When you're going to import your own, it's going to be a picture. So you would add the image. And apparently I did not finish downloading that. Completed. Okay, let's try that again. Love it when it doesn't work when I'm on camera. Let's go share, download, transparent background. I only want the current page. Okay, and download. There we go. Now we have it. There it is. And there we are. Now we have our little swoosh there. And you can resize that in Substack as well if you decide it really is too big. But generally speaking, if you want something to go across the page and you want it to be a little bit finer, then you would just use a use something that has a finer line art than this one does. This one is quite a thick swooshy line art. I wouldn't personally use it, but that's just my opinion. It might be what you like. Okay, so that is that one. And then the other one is if you want to do a smaller one. So I know this looks quite large. It's just the way the zoom works. This is 215%. And we're going to go to elements again. And this time we're going to look for, not in all elements, we're going to go to graphics and we're going to look for a squiggle. So there's all kinds of squiggles. I think I want this one to be horizontal. It doesn't like the horizontal very well. Apparently that doesn't go with the squiggle. Let's say we want something kind of artsy, kind of like this. And we can always change the orientation. And we want it bright and cheerful. Let's go with an orange. And then we're going to size it up. And remember, we're going to size this down once we have it in our Substack. We're just kind of playing with that. And share. And again, we want one with a transparent background. There we go. We're going to go back here. I would never put this in here, but that's okay. Add image. And here's our squiggle. And there it is. And we're going to size this one down. You can see the numbers changing. There we go. Let's go with that. So you can do all kinds of little artsy little squiggles and things like that. If you have an art program or are an artist, then you can create your own. Absolutely, and import that as a graphic to your Substack. You do not have to use Canva's graphics for that. That's just if you need something for that. So All right, but that concludes today's tutorial. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'm going to leave the comments open. I will be sending out some new information starting next week because it's coming up to the beginning of the month. So of course I'm going to change things again because I still haven't settled on exactly how I want to do this yet. So anyway, we will talk to you again soon. I also have a resources page that's coming out. I should have it finished and published next week. That will be have a whole bunch of resources for graphics, but also for audio and for video. So hopefully you'll find that helpful as well. We will talk to you all later. Bye for now.